Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. We've got somebody that you may recognize in today's video, and that somebody is the VIP Queen Boss Babe herself.
How could we forget?
She is also a Modere top leader, and this video was sent to me by an individual, so thank you to that person who sent this video my way. Miss VIP Queen Boss Babe did an interview with an individual who had a near-death experience in a car crash and then spun it to make it make sense for her VIP Queen Boss Babes. Now we're gonna get right the f into this fuckery, but first, we need the disclaimer.
Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Nicoli, and welcome to the Jolted JNL podcast. I am your host and friend, Coach JNL, and on today's episode, I have Crystal Tipton, a longtime JNL believer, a past JNL Fusion certified master trainer. Also, she has a great near-death life experience.
That's a very interesting choice of words.
She's a great near-death experience. That's the wildest thing ever. Capitalizing on people's trauma at its best.
She was actually in a car crash, and she wrote about it in one of our books. When you're stuck in a rut and need a motivational kick in the butt, read this book. So we're going to catch up with her. She just came to the retreat, and before that, I was blessed to have her attend my latest NPC show, July 12th, here in Florida. And I'm just so excited to connect with her. And how are you doing today, Crystal?
I am fit and fabulous today.
I love it. I love it. You know, we go way back, and I want to kind of tell everyone about your story, especially the car crash, and then kind of speed up to you attending the retreat and how our paths have reconnected again after so long. I mean, you were doing my events back in 2010, 2012, 12, 14 years ago. And now here we are connected. By the grace of God, I'm really excited. So kind of tell everyone about your story, especially the car crash, and then leading up until how we connected again and you just came to the retreat.
Yeah, well, it's such an honor to be with you today. You are so amazing. And you're changing so many lives and empowering so many women out there. So this is a complete honor to share my story and to be with you today. But as you said, it's been over 30 years ago. My life changed on one tragic day on my way to ball practice. My dad had to drop a couple of my brother's friends off, and we were hit by a drunk driver, and our lives changed forever. My dad suffered a severe head injury, multiple other injuries. My brother was injured. His two friends were injured, and I suffered debilitating injuries. I ended up having to learn how to roll over, sit up, walk, and just kind of get my life back. I was a freshman in high school, so it really changed the trajectory of, where my life went from that point. Prior to that, for about 90 days, I had this dream every night that I was in this accident.
So first thing I want to address is that I don't want to lessen this person's experience at all. It sounds like this was a traumatic experience, and that is not why I decided to react to this call. The reason I decided to react to this call is the way that they're going to spin this traumatic event that happened her freshman year of high school and turn it into what they're going to turn it into. So again, not lessening the seriousness and the effects of her accident.
And the accident happened just as the dream came to me every night, except that I would wake up and I didn't know if I lived or died. So wow. Fast forward 90 days later, the accident really did happen. And, I had this near-death experience and really chose to stay here and to complete a calling that I felt like I was meant to complete here on this earth. And
you chose to stay here as a freshman in high school. Again, not lessening the experience, but words and the way we use them are probably important. I don't know if you had control over the fact that you're choosing to stay.
And so that was back in the day.
Real quick.
Jesus, rude much?
I would love studying NDEs, near-death life experiences, because I feel like they truly are STEs, spiritually transformative experiences.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
STEs again. The STEs are back. What is it with her and her acronyms? She just comes up with acronyms for her everything. I'm not gonna say the name because of the controversy around the name. But I think that if you've been in the anti-mlm community long enough, that she might be reminding us of someone.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
I won't say any names, but if somebody drops it in the comments, I may or may not confirm it.
So tell me real quick how your relationship with God was before your NDE and then how your faith was strengthened afterwards.
Absolutely. Well, I always felt different, And I just felt like I just stuck out. And I never felt like I fit in ever. And I remember going to an altar call when I was
Sign of a VIP queen. You know you're a light worker when you just don't fit in, you know you're different. It's like you feel like you're an alien almost.
Yes. And I answered the call of God on my life in 4th grade right before 4-H camp. And it was very, very powerful. I mean, so powerful.
Just came out of nowhere, or were like elders from your church saying, okay, who wants to bring their life to God? Or was it just something intrinsic? Tell me about that.
That was just like in the middle of church at the end, when you're supposed to, if you want to get saved, you're supposed to go up front. Of course, I was Southern Baptist. So, but I just like was shaking. There was trembling. And the power just came. I mean, I was crying. I mean, it was just, I couldn't control it.
Holy Spirit was there. That's the Holy Spirit.
She hardly lets anybody finish a sentence, so now I'm doing that to her. I also wanted to address something if you haven't watched my other videos with this individual that is conducting this interview. She not only is an MLM boss babe in Modere, she's also from what I understand, she coaches on everything from the way she presents her calls, I guess, or trainings, whatever that we've reacted to in the past, in terms of life coaching, fitness coaching, and network marketing coaching. And that's what her VIP Queen Boss Babe world is all about. It's coaching in all of the things, even though I'm pretty sure she's not like a psychiatrist, a therapist, none of those things. She's just training people on these and then utilizing their stories, their life stories, to profit, as we'll see at the end of this interview.
Up to the altar and I was praying, and then I just remember trying to I was so overcome. I just didn't even know how to process that experience at all, really.
Wow. That's beautiful.
And so, you fast forward 4th grade to, high school, and then this happens. And so
I believe in the power of dreams. It was interesting that you kept on having that recurring dream. It was like a prophecy and getting you prepared for that.
Yeah. And so I had this best friend named Kim Sweatman. She was my best friend. She was over at my house all the time. And I broke my friendship, not completely off with her, but I really distanced myself because she was always with us. And this was back in the day when right before seatbelts became the
so
thing.
You were afraid if she stays my friend, she's going to get hurt. That's how strong that feeling was. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the week before, I wrote letters to all my friends. And so this is the crazy part, because if this happened today, somebody would probably call 911 or the 988 line or somebody, because I wrote letters to all my friends and told them that if something happened to me, to open the letters, but to only open them if something happened to me. And the week after that is when the accident happened.
You just have that.
So of course they all opened the letters, and they were all traumatized by this, these letters, because I was writing as if I was gone.
Right. Well, you know what? From me studying NDEs, they say that we have an afterlife, but just as much as we have a before, before we come here, and we actually map out our life plan. We actually have a soul contract that we sign, and that maybe you were having these little inklings of, okay, I know what I agreed I had to do, and now I'm going to do it, and I'm going to live to tell about it, and I'm going to tell people how God is real, or whatever your story is through that trials and tribulations.
Not the soul contract. This is very woo-woo. And I've got a little woo, just not this much. This is grifting at its best.
Learning how to walk again and roll over. So you maybe had a little glimpse of the veil, and that's what I see other NDE experiencers talk about, which gives me chills, because I believe in all that spiritual stuff, and God is real, very, very real, and Jesus is real. So thank you for sharing your vulnerable best with us and your story with us.
Again, NDE is near-death experience, because God forbid we say the full word and waste our precious breath on the actual words.
Yeah. It was an amazing experience, and it was very peaceful. And it really drew a lot of people to understand the miracles that God
Yes.
can create, right? Because I shouldn't have survived. I did, and then I shouldn't have done all the things that I've done. And so I had this miraculous healing, and I had this
Believe it.
tremendous peace, and
Yes.
none of the
The
doctors could
peace that
believe that.
surpasses all knowledge,
Right.
the peace
Because
from
I
the Holy
knew,
Ghost.
yeah. And even when the last doctor came in to release me from his care,
Mhm.
he wept. He was the first doctor to weep, because of all the progress I'd made, but also because he knew some goals that I had, and he was very afraid of what might happen if I tried to do that. And it was odd because, not odd, but at the time, I was still 17 years old, and it was odd because the nurse came and he had to leave the room, and I just felt this brush of warm air, and it was as if God was behind me, and he put his hands on me and he said, I left you here to help others, and you
Yes.
will be a mother, because that was the one thing he was talking to me about, was that he didn't know if I could have babies.
Because everything was like crushed in your womb, your pelvic
Yes.
bone, or
And so I just had this moment of weeping and just uncontrollably crying. And it was almost as if a part of that um, human experience that I had latched onto, even though it wasn't a part of my soul contract,
yeah,
was dying off, that I was letting it go. And I was
yeah.
fully stepping into what I had come here to really do.
Wow.
And so that's what I've done over the last, 30 plus years in different forms and fashions, helped people. Fast forward to meeting you. I mean, that was another huge pivotal point in my life's journey, because of where I was at in the field that I was in, and it abruptly ended. And so I was kind of like, okay, God,
Right.
and no doors were opening. And then all of a sudden there was this thing that came up in social media about this retreat. And so I was like, you know what? I'm
Yes.
just going to go, because I just felt again like God was saying, I need you to go do this. And
Yes.
I
This is where J&L's retreat comes in 30 years later after her NDE.
That don't make sense.
never thought that going would end up just making my life a 180 into a direction I
Wow.
never really thought about. But most
Wow.
importantly, in all that really
Mhm.
was the activation. And I talked about
Mm.
this at your past retreat you just had,
Mhm.
was, being spiritually guided,
Yeah.
we call it being oily in the spiritual world,
Wake up in the morning feeling like
No, not like that.
because you are you're gifted, and it's the gifts of God that he's put on your life, and it is a sign of divine things and wealth, and then your gift is because you've activated your own, is to
Yes.
activate other people. And so
Wow.
by me coming and saying yes to this crazy retreat, that I was like, I just lost a career, and here I
Yeah.
am spending money and going on some retreat like it's a
Right.
vacation,
Right.
but
Right.
you activated a part of my gifts
And that
that
was what,
I
10,
didn't
12 years
know.
ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so it
Mm-hmm.
just took me to a whole other spiritual level of what I was here to do. And I
Wow.
would not have, I would have known, I believe that we do accomplish what we come here to do. Sometimes we take
Yeah.
detours. And so if I had not have stepped into that, and done what he asked to do, which was go,
Yeah.
then, I would have later I would have found that. But by doing so, you really woke that up and activated that in me
Thank
to
you.
believe in
Thank you so
myself.
much. Wow.
Yeah.
You let me tell you what, your power speech at the retreat, you shut it down. We had everyone saying, wow, thank you, Crystal. It was really neat to have all the current members that have been with me maybe 4 or 5 years hear your story. And we go back, 10, 12, 14 years, hearing everything you're saying, that I'm oily, where, you walk into a room, you light it up, you can activate in people, that I'm an activator. And that I love that you said, I'm going to wake it up and evoke it in you and activate it, but I'm
Yes.
not going to do the workouts for you. You got to do it yourself.
No shit, Sherlock!
And I kind of conjure up that inner strength that everyone has inside of them, that's like laying dormant, but we come and stir it up, activate it, awaken it, and I call it the VIP power.
She takes full credit for everything that this woman did.
That's what I do. I activate it and wake it up. I changed your life.
I feel like individuals like this do interviews to talk about themselves and how amazing they are. That's just my opinion. Sorry, not sorry.
A VIP queen. And you can just see how you just shifted the energy in the room, and that all of your commentary and remarks, people were really resonating with it. And that now I know what it means to be like a VIP queen. And before I had this branding of this phase and season of my career, we had the other retreat, but it's almost like the same message, that we're here to get better,
Yes.
to listen to that still small voice that's
Yeah.
like a shout, but you can't, it's not audible, you can't hear it, but it's in your head, and follow those being guided to life. And I'm so grateful that, you've been a long time VIP Queen member. You came out to the competition to support me there. That meant so much to me. And that now, you stood up and you said oily and anointed. And what does that mean for, like, maybe someone doesn't really understand that? I think you touched on that, but maybe go into that a little bit more.
Well, I think, coming into your coaching program, I think the average woman, they see you and they're like, wow, I want to look like that, and so I think you've got to come into this, and then once you get in here, you will see that it's so much more than just looking good and being strong physically. It's about being strong mentally and in your soul, and I think that that's what you bring to people, is because you're able to see, because you've answered your own calling and you've activated your own gifts.
Okay, here we go. You've answered your own calling and activated your own gifts. Those statements do not mean that you are qualified to teach other people or lead other people into the result that they want, especially when we're talking about physical and mental health issues, okay? And a lot of times when people are looking for help in this sense, they are looking for help from a medical doctor or a psychiatrist or a therapist or even a registered dietitian, nutritionist, or personal trainer. In my opinion, and by many studies out there at this point, bodybuilding competitions are horrible for your body. The amount of strain and stress that you put on your body when you are training for these competitions is insane. So listening to somebody who thinks that doing that on a regular basis could be problematic in the future.
You're able to see what other people, you're able to kind of see what they don't see at the moment. And you're able to help them look in the mirror and kind of reflect on the inside and pull out whatever maybe, they're afraid of or they don't know. And, pain is a part of life, but healing is our responsibility.
I love
that. I think that, it's like you said, this is a whole different new phase of where we are in the VIP Queen program.
You can't be serious.
How can anybody take that seriously, the VIP Queen program?
What hasn't ever changed is the mind, body, soul connection.
Yes.
And the fact that you bring that together. So sometimes, if you're coming into this coaching program and you're like, hey, I want to look good, but sometimes people come in because they really want a coach that's going to give them a good kick in the butt.
That's it.
And
that
help
tough
them,
love.
Get better and be a better mom or be a better wife or take your career to the next level. I mean,
absolutely.
You
and you know what I see,
full
Crystal?
package.
Thank you so much. I see a lot of women like want to get in shape and they're like, where's the sheet diet? Hand me the sheet diet. What workouts do I do? How many calories do I want to eat? But they're angry inside. They're playing the blame game. They're crying the victim. They're still holding on to grudges, still holding on to what that person did to them. They have all this inner work just pent up and it's like bursting out. And I see it and I feel it being an empath and I pick up on that. And it's like, there's so much inner work you have to do that's making you hold on to the weight. And no diet and no lean, clean, green food plan will help you crack your code. You got to purge all that. You got to really find the inner peace, let go, let God, and just like exhale all of that old stale energy so you can then go on that healing journey. You said it best.
By way of a life coach? I'm going to go with no, probably not. Life coaches do not require any kind of certification or education or backing or anything. They could just go out there and say they're a life coach. There's no regulation there. So always be very careful with that, please, because what can end up happening is you think you're getting better and the life coach is actually undoing work that maybe you've already done or making things, your trauma responses, worse than they already are. And now you're even further behind behind, but because there's been a change, you think maybe it's getting better. Please reach out to a medical professional, meaning a primary care physician, a psychiatrist, or a therapist. Please don't reach out to a life coach. They are not trained in these specific areas of treatment in most cases.
Is that we all are going to have things that happen to us, but it's our responsibility to heal and to heal ourselves through God. And once you let go of all that minutia and all that junk and all that weight, it's like, oh, my body now is releasing the weight. My body is now letting go of the security blanket of holding on to the weight, because subconsciously we're holding on to that. We're like holding on to we're so hurt by other people that we are holding on to the extra fat so people don't bother us and we feel safe that way. But once
That's not true, ma'am. That is not true. Sometimes we're just holding on to the extra weight because we have inflammation from stress and cortisol levels. We are eating too much. It's the holiday season. Maybe we're just retaining water. We're a little puffy.
Do I look puffy? I feel puffy.
Being somebody who's overweight does not mean you're holding on to things. You're hiding from people. In some cases, yeah, but in a lot of cases, it's just people like to eat and they don't like to move their bodies as much. That's it. It's that simple. We don't have to dissect it and make it into, oh my God, you're wearing your trauma. No, you ate and maybe didn't move your body. That's all. It's not a security blanket. You just take off when all your trauma is healed.
we let go and do the inner work, we are ready to take it to the next level. And I think that's the secret. That's part of our secret sauce in our VIP Queen program.
And speaking of sauce, I mean, you've got the special sauce. But what's great about that is that we all have a sauce and it's all different and we're all unique. And so
we all have a sauce. It's getting saucy up in here.
You're able to identify what's our sauce and how to keep us. But, I'll go back and say too, when you get into this coaching program with you and the workouts are so, they're just, you can't describe it. You just have to do it, because while we're working out, we're detoxing these feelings. We're detoxing this trauma. We're detoxing the past. We're releasing all of this stuff by the different movements. And then you're
detoxing the trauma. We're asking Google, how do you detox from trauma? Oh, but we don't spell trauma right. Okay, now we did. Now I know not all of it is 100% all the time, but this is YouTube. We can't take it too seriously, right? Detoxing from trauma primarily involves actively processing and integrating the traumatic experience through practices like mindfulness, meditation, journaling, physical activity, and seeking professional therapy, allowing you to gradually release the emotional and physical effects of the trauma on your body and mind. Essentially, it's about confronting and working through the difficult emotions associated with the trauma rather than a literal detox process. So again, seek professional therapy if you are looking to detox or heal from your trauma, not a life coach or a VIP queen boss babe. That shouldn't even be an option.
We're interjecting through humor and through, those little swift kicks of, what that you're going to say. It's getting imprinted and we're recoding. And like you said, we're cracking the code. And that's all kind of happening during the workout. So little by little.
Reprogramming. Recoding. It's great. Exactly. You get it. And that we're being transformed in that. And when you get in that peak state of that high energy and you're hearing, yes, you can. Don't play small. Let go of that. You go higher and push yourself. You're like, it really connects. And it's like, it really imprints upon your psyche. It's like that mental branding, how they brand cattle out on the farm. It's like, you can hear my voice long after the workout is gone. It pings again. And people are like, I hear your voice all day long telling me, don't give up. Yes, you can. And so when you're in that peak state and you're getting like where you really can't even do another rep and you're hearing someone say that, it really rewires you. And subconsciously people don't really know that, but that's the secret sauce. And I'm glad that you're being someone that has followed me for many years, you understand it and get that, and you're able to explain that to our listeners, and that it is so true.
People want to know what the difference is in your workouts and other workouts. That's really the difference, is because you have the mind, body, soul connection happening all at once. You're having fun. And anytime, and people tell you, when you're laughing, you're learning, and when you're having fun, you're learning. And so when you're in those moments of the workout, like you said, those are the moments that things are purging out and you're putting the good stuff back in. And that's why when it gets in that subconscious and it's on that soul level, because your soul already knows that anyway. It's just all the junk that's happened in between the
Yes.
time. Yeah. You're just reminding people what they already know on a soul level.
That's it. That's it. Remember who you are. Just remember who you are. You were born to be a VIP queen. You said it before in this podcast that, we get off track. We have to look back at our compass. And this is like really a compass for you to realign yourself. And this is about getting back in line and waking up that VIP power, being a victor, not a victim, being
Yes.
a champion, not someone that is always challenged and always just like we're the other side of the coin where we're master manifestors through faith, the power of faith, not living in fear. And that's
It got a little glitchy there for a second, but we should be good from here. My apologies if we missed some context.
a choice. Some people
Yes.
choose to stay stuck. And this is where your portal, your vortex, if you will, to get out of the 3D, lack, suffering, poverty mindset into the 5D, where you're creating your future you. You're healing yourself. And that is true. I believe, miracles. I believe in instantaneous healing. I've seen it many times, and your story is testimony to that. So you being a longtime VIP Queen member and to now, what have you seen that has stayed current but also even got better, even with the new platform we just launched and people getting more fine-tuned in their own personalized program with the diamond level, which you enrolled in? Anything you want to share?
I think everyone should get started on, obviously get into the VIP Queen program. That's a huge plus because you've got everything that you need support wise. And then being able to then evolve as you evolve and as you grow, then you can have the access to all the other things that are available to you. And I think the diamond level is just next level, like ready at that point to really, because you're doing a lot of things on your own outside, but there's a commitment there, right? So it's not just kind of like coming on with you and working out, but you also have this whole other upper level of a commitment every day that you've got it laid out for you and it's up to you. And then those weekly check-ins with you are holding, each of us accountable for what we committed to do for the week.
There it is. She didn't even have to make a sales pitch. She had this individual who had an NDE do it for her. Dollar signs. It's all about the dollar signs for these grifters.
So, and then the energetic part, I just can't stress that enough. Even at the VIP retreat, I think just the energy. So number one, there's power in immersing yourself into something. So, you can get your toes wet and get started with just the VIP Queen program.
Right.
And, get connected and get within that energy, which is definitely going to be life-changing. And then you up level with the diamond program.
I'm curious if she gave her like points to talk about since they're apparently friends outside of this. I wouldn't be surprised if there were points that she had like, hey, when I ask you this question, bring up this point because we need to make more money. Cha-ching!
And then these retreats just immerse you into that atmosphere.
Yes.
And that is where you catapult, much like your manifesting class you're going to have here coming up. So there's classes that we get to take with you. And that just kind of keeps the momentum going and keeps you in the flow.
Manifesting classes, don't fall for manifesting classes. They're bullshit, in my opinion, of course.
So you don't get too hijacked. I mean, life's going to life, right?
Right.
But we
life is going to life.
We have to constantly remind ourselves that it's a season, not a sentence. And so we're not going to come into this program and instantaneously have a fitness model body and a wealthy life. But little by little, it is going to happen.
Yes, absolutely.
So they're recruiting people into this coaching program, VIP Queen, boss, babes, whatever, to heal their mind, body, and spirit or whatever, right? But on this almost 30-minute call that they had, interview, whatever, where was the outline of what the people actually get? Sure, they're going to get these results that, are they even from your program? It's so foggy right now. Don't know if that's because this is my third video of the day or if it's because it is really like, what is this mushy mess that you're trying to sell people? I think this is a trend for her because there's another video that I reacted to of her trying to sell something and It was another mushy mess of, I think I can sell this if I keep bullshitting my way through it and faking it until I make it. That is what this feels like to me, because there's no real substance of what you're giving the people aside from these quote unquote results that people could be achieving outside of your program. They don't need your program for that. Sorry, not sorry.
It's so well. Like, there's so many great golden nuggets of wisdom there. And obviously you're flexing your miracle muscles, and you are just in alignment for so many great blessings. And to know, like you said, we're in the greatest season right now of our life, being more of a mature woman, being around the park a couple of times. Now we have this program. And so if anyone's out there listening and just thinking, wow, I know this program is great, but now hearing it from Crystal and hearing Coach Janelle interview Crystal, we really have that solidified. And what are you looking for now? Looking forward, I like to plan our successes in advance. What are your goals and intentions for the rest of the year? And also, being a VIP queen, what do you want to accomplish? And what do you know you can accomplish with God?
I can accomplish anything through Christ who strengthens me. That's a
Mhm.
given.
So now we're really pushing faith manipulation. If these people are now also believers, they're going to be more apt to believing this bullshit might work for them, when in all actuality, you don't need this. You don't need this garbage. Please speak to a doctor, registered dietitian, psychiatrist, therapist, all those other people that are qualified to be helping you in these areas of life. Thank you.
I've had
Wow.
a really interesting season this past year.
Mhm.
And so I'm looking forward to a new grandbaby.
Oh,
So I'll have
congrats.
2. I'm looking forward to advancing my career in different ways. And I feel like God's calling me to do some new things. So I'm
Yes.
waiting to hear from him on what that looks like. And, I mentioned that at the retreat. Sometimes I get ahead of God and I'll jump. So I'm
Right.
looking to, okay, what do you want me to do?
Just listen. Just
yeah.
listen. Be obedient. Be ready. Mhm.
I hate that phrase. Be obedient. I swear to God, motherfucker, come at me and tell me be obedient. I swear to God. Just saying. It irks me. I think I mentioned this in another video, and there were multiple people who agreed with me that it just like, it's like nails on a chalkboard. That's an issue I should speak to a therapist about, right? And I will do that.
Yeah. And be with you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a huge part right now, honestly,
Mhm.
is just to be with you. I
Yeah, I'm
don't know
here.
why. I just feel like
Mhm.
that's what I'm supposed to do. And so
Wow.
I know one of the things that another spiritual leader that I talk with frequently, but she said the other day, the ending is none of your business. So a lot of times, we want to know what the end
Oh,
is, and we just have to okay, God calls you to do something. So take that step. And then
I want to add to that. The ending is none of your business, but you're never going to make it out alive. So fucking live your life, okay? As a side note, that's where I'm at in life. We are not making it out alive. So if I see something that I want to do, I'm going to go fucking do it. And y'all can fuck off if you don't like it, right? That's how we have to live. Sorry, side tangent. Too much caffeine.
let the rest start to unfold and keep praying for what is the next right aligned step for you to take, right?
wow, that's beautiful. I agree. And you talked a lot about energy. As we wrap this up, because I could do a full hour for you with you. It's amazing. We're like resonating on the same vibration. You talk a lot about energy, and this is my latest literary work, Crack Your VIP Queen Code, and it's probably my favorite book.
Now she's selling the book. We've got the program, the retreat, and now the book. These are all things that she wants people to buy.
Ever written. But VIP queens love to upgrade their energy. And I talk about top strategies on how to really level up our energy, keep our energy hygiene clean. Don't let it get bogged down with negative energy, and just use the power of the mind, daily energy clearing techniques, prayer, meditation, of course, exercise.
While she rambles, I just have one question. What did any of this have to do with this individual who she's interviewing accident from freshman year? Because she had a premonition that something was going to happen to her? What is this, Final Destination?
Empowerment coaching, enjoying fitness snacks when you can, being around positive, like-minded people, having these adult, spiritually based, faith-based conversations that really feed the spirit, returning back to ourselves.
That's literally what this was, a conversation, an empty conversation of the interviewee telling bits and pieces of her story and JNL selling her shit and boasting about how amazing her program is. What are we doing?
Visualizing and just really putting God first. And I like what you said, listen to God, don't get ahead of him. And I think that's a hard part for us as women of faith and being really alpha females. We want to do it. We want to muscle it. We want to, force it. We're like, no, sometimes you got to take one step back to get 10 steps ahead. So we always adjust ourselves and work on our energy before we get out of balance. And I think that's another powerful point. So we are always like, let's make sure we get our workouts in. Let's make sure we, eat healthy, get our rest, and not throw ourselves out there into negative situations where in the past, I'm like, I don't believe I actually would allow myself to do that. As we evolve and get stronger and better and have more foresight, I just know that this is the most powerful season. And so anything you want to add in closing before we wrap this up? And I know it's going to be good. I know you're going to jolt us all as we sign off.
I don't know about that. I would just say get started and don't sweat the small stuff. Don't just start, and give yourself some grace, because you're not going to be able to do all things.
So groundbreaking.
And so just get started. When I started on the Diamond program, there were some things I was like, okay, so I had to give myself some grace and pat myself on the back for what I could do.
Yeah.
And then just keep going. And each day you get stronger, and each day you get wiser, and each day, it gets a little easier. You get better. At being able to overcome all of those little things, and the little, the reality in your little mind is not reality with a capital R, right?
Well, I love that.
You just got to get started. I think that's the biggest thing. You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. They always say, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. I say a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one rep. So just like get into your workouts. Put them on your calendar, put yourself back on your to-do list, and don't get overwhelmed. Like, do what you can and keep building. Get the basics down, the fundamentals, FUN, because they're fun.
Oh my God. Fundamentals, FUN, JNL, NDE, STE, all of the fucking acronyms.
Keep adding the fundamentals down, and then keep adding. And then all of a sudden you're gonna be like, wow, I'm diamond level now. I can do the basic fundamentals and even do more of what elite, exclusive, more advanced athletes do. And that's the powerful thing. And then this like supernatural divine energy kind of envelops you and encompasses you. And you're thinking, wow, I'm getting up early, I'm going to bed late. And you're thinking it's so easy to do. And it's almost as if God is helping you do it.
Yes.
For real. Because when you're doing those workouts, they're not easy. And there's got to be some supernatural power at play there to get us through those workouts.
Yeah. Well, if we can have babies, we can do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For everyone listening, make sure you seek out Crystal. Also read her chapter in our book, When You're Stuck in a Rut, Need a Motivational Kick in the Butt. It will really floor you. And you're going to hear much more from her on future podcasts. So thank you, first, Crystal, for being my guest today on the show. And I love you. And listen, the best is yet to come. Love you. Have a great day.
So, of course, it was a pitch to sell all of the things, but more specifically at the end, a book. Okay? What the is happening in the world? Don't fall for this life coaching shit or network market coaching shit. None of it. Please don't fall for it. Please. And with that, it's time for our palate cleanser. TikTok hates your bullshit. Oh my God, I love watching cat videos and bunny videos. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me while I talk a bunch of shit, and I will see you in the next one.